The day started like any other on the rugged Pacific coast, but it ended as a legend no one would ever forget. The sky was a bruise of dark clouds, rolling in faster than anyone could prepare for. A storm, an absolute monster, was brewing, and by noon it hit like a freight train. Rain hammered the sleepy beach town, turning streets into rivers. Waves towered over the cliffs, smashing against the shore with a roar that drowned out all else. The wind screamed through the pines, snapping branches like twigs. And in the middle of this chaos, a tiny dog named Max, a scruffy terrier with a heart bigger than his body, faced the fight of his life. Swept into the ocean by a freak wave, he was seconds from death. But out there, in the churning black water, a dolphin named Echo was about to become his unlikely savior. Max belonged to Tom, a grizzled fisherman who'd seen his share of rough seas. The two were inseparable. Max trotted after Tom every morning, his little legs kicking up sand as they headed to the pier. He'd chase crabs, yap at gulls, and nap in the sun while Tom hauled in nets. That morning, though, the air felt wrong. The gulls were silent, the horizon too dark. Tom should have turned back, but he needed one last catch before the weather locked him in. Max stayed close, his leash clipped to Tom's belt, his tail wagging despite the drizzle. Then it happened. A wave, bigger than any Tom had ever seen, reared up like a living thing. It slammed the pier, wood groaning, and the leash snapped. Max yelped as the water yanked him under, his paws clawing at nothing. "Max!" Tom screamed, lunging forward, but the current was merciless. Bystanders, locals, tourists, a few kids with wide eyes dragged Tom back from the edge. "He's gone, man," one said, voice breaking. Max's head bobbed once in the foam, then vanished. Tom sank to his knees, rain soaking his beard, thinking he'd lost his best friend forever. Enter Echo, the dolphin no one fully understood. She'd been a fixture in the bay for months, a lone bottlenose with a chipped fin and a gleam in her eye. Fishermen swapped stories about her over beers, how she'd nudge boats toward fish, how she'd leap through their wakes like she was showing off. Some said she'd lost her pod to a fishing net gone wrong. Others thought she just liked humans. Either way, Echo was out there that day, slicing through the storm's swells with a grace that mocked the chaos. She thrived in the wild water, her clicks cutting through the roar. Then she heard it, a faint, desperate yelp, carried on the wind. Her sonar pinged, locking onto a tiny shape thrashing in the waves. Max, sinking fast, his strength draining with every kick. What unfolded next was straight out of a dream or a nightmare, depending on where you stood. Echo dove, her body a silver streak against the dark sea. She surfaced under Max just as he slipped beneath the surface, her snout lifting him up. He sputtered, choking on salt water, his brown eyes wide with terror. The crowd on the pier, now a dozen strong, huddled under coats and umbrellas, caught sight of him. "Is that a dolphin?" a kid shouted, pointing. Tom staggered to his feet, squinting through the rain. Echo didn't just nudge Max. She swam with him, her powerful tail pushing against the current, her body a shield between him and the crashing waves. She clicked and whistled, sharp sounds that cut through the storm as if telling him, "Hold on, little guy, I've got you." But the ocean wasn't done fighting. A massive wave rolled in, swallowing them both. The crowd gasped, hands clutching railings, phones trembling as they filmed. For a heartbeat, it looked like they were gone, Max and Echo, lost to the deep. Then Echo broke the surface again, Max draped across her back, his paws twitching. She dived under the wave, cradling him, and now she fought harder, her fins slapping the water. The storm threw everything at her, wind, rain, currents that could have dragged a boat under. She circled when Max slipped, nudging him back up, her energy relentless. On the pier, Tom waded into the shallows, boots slipping on algae-slick rocks, shouting, "Come on, Max, come on!" The crowd held its breath, some praying, some crying, as Echo battled closer. It took 15 grueling minutes, 15 minutes of pure adrenaline. Waves battered them, but Echo kept going, her chipped fin flashing like a beacon. Finally, a breaker lifted them high and crashed them near the shore. Tom splashed in knee-deep and scooped Max from the surf, the dog-sodden fur plastered to his shaking frame. Echo lingered, her sleek head bobbing, watching as Tom clutched Max tight, sobbing into his scruff. "You're okay, buddy, you're okay," Tom whispered, voice raw. The crowd erupted. Cheers, applause, a few whoops from the kids. Phone still rolling, capturing every second. Echo flipped her tail, a final salute, and vanished into the stormy sea, leaving only ripples and a story no one would believe if they hadn't seen it.